find that out very soon.
Well, there's another thing too. I've had over the last 20 years so many cameras on me.
Oh, Lord.
I'm at the point where it's okay. There's
Well, that's
another
good.
camera.
Yeah, so you're actually cool with it. Well, that's nice.
I've had cameras in extremely invasive that can be done to me anymore. This is exactly what I was thinking about.
It is?
Nightshade presents Dr. Burisch blamed for La Quinta fire. Oh, lovely. George Knapp here. Oh,
Reporting
lovely.
from La Quinta.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, and I'm very pleased to be with Dan Burisch.
There,
And,
I just introduced myself.
Well, actually, I would like you to sort of give a brief introduction, who you are and what you're known for. Maybe what
I'm
you'd
known
like to be known for.
Aside from cantankerous activities and disobeying certain authority structures. No, well, I'm a microbiologist, a retired one now, but continuing somewhat the practice involved in a very unusual project called Lotus. I am a 20-year retiree from Majestic, first having been brought in 1986 under the auspices of the Committee of the Majority, and specifically working for the Majestic 12, assigned to Project Aquarius. I suppose I'm more known for meeting a J-Rod and working at S4. Aside from that, I don't really know what I'm known for, aside from irritating a bunch of people on the web that don't want to hear about me.
Okay, so you worked for Majestic, and you were basically, I mean, in brief, and I know there's a really long history
Right,
as
the
to
Lotus
how
was
you
an
ended.
accessory project. It wasn't, it was funded because everything that I was doing at the time was being funded ultimately by them. But it was an accessory project. It wasn't something of a critical nature for the Majestic, or as I believed for a long time. However, the principle of the Lotus ultimately ended up being a rather earth-shaking item for the participants at the T9 conference a couple of years ago.
What is the T9 conference?
During the course of speaking with extraterrestrials and our interactions with them from the 1950s onward, there have been a series of treaties established between we and they meaning a future human intelligence, time travelers. And there have been as a consequence of our relationship with them, there have been more than one treaty system in place. During the last of one of those treaty negotiation and signing times, I had the privilege of being in the presence of the negotiators at the conference, which was held in the state of New Mexico.
And there were how many aliens present at that time?
There were 2, 4, 6, and a few in strollers behind the curtains. So we had
I'm sorry, what was that reference?
They're unable to cope for long periods of time in our atmosphere. In our
see.
present atmosphere. They've adapted, if you will, to the atmospheres of their particular future timeline, and as a consequence, coming here would be oppressive to them, existing in our standard temperature and our pressure. So they have been provided unique, sealed off, pressurized systems that they would be moved around in by their attendants, basically on a Segway type transport system, where you can push it and it will actually move forward, very easily maneuverable.
I see. So that's what you meant by stroller
Right.
system.
Right.
Okay.
And so they were encapsulated in their strollers in their positions as negotiators for their time. And
Are you saying that these aliens that were present at this conference that happened, what, this year, last year? A couple years ago. In which they discussed, I'm assuming it was
between
the Lotus.
2003 and 4.
I'm sorry?
Between 2003 and 2004.
Okay, and they discussed the Lotus project.
It was brought up, and in fact, as part of the negotiations, the P plus 45,000 group of J-Rods wanted the codes for the Lotus Principle added into the treaty negotiations so that they could use it in their own attempts to ameliorate their particular neuropathies.
Wow. So
They
they
wanted to
saw the
use it.
value. They saw the value right away.
They saw a potential value for it, and they wanted to use it for that purpose. It was my argument that it should not be used for a particular purpose, that this is moreover part of a natural system which has been put in place by whatever God that one would want to deign as being the creator of the universe, as part of a natural system and not to be controllable by humankind.
Or by alien kind, by
well,
they're
humans. They're human
you
lineage.
consider them humans.
They're humans.
Okay.
They're human beings, albeit different from what we would expect to see as a human being. But then again, if we look in the history, the presently accepted history of the evolution of humankind, if one were to walk into a conference held by Neanderthals, one would be taken aback. Well, in the same way, one may be taken aback by walking into a conference with these gentlemen.
Okay. So you've got two kinds of aliens, and people that are watching this, some people may have no idea about the T2, two timelines.
Probably not. We actually had three kinds of extraterrestrials, human lineage extraterrestrials present. Two kinds of P plus 45,000 years from now, if we were to translate over to timeline 2. Difficult subjects, aren't they? Two representatives from that time, two representatives from P plus 52,000 years ahead, J-Rods, both of which generally have the anatomical configuration of what would be in ufology called grays, gray aliens, and two representatives from P plus 52,000 Orions, who would generally, I guess, in ufological circles, I guess one could say, would be called Nordics or Tals.
Okay.
Who actually look more human-like but have larger eyes, very blue eyes, blondish hair, etc.
I see. And, okay, well, of course I've got many questions on this score.
So do I.
But, and for people listening, we would also like to know, were there any reptilians present?
No, not per se.
Okay.
What I've come to understand, and it's generally held, I think I could say it's generally held within our society, that the notion of a reptilian is a misnomer. And I'm not saying that to apply a negative